Thank y'all for coming out. We're here again. So we got a great show. We're back.
He was like, you know, Floyd was just starting to become a promoter at the time. He had like one fighter at the time.
So you got with Mayweather Promotions very early on. You fighter number 2.
Floyd, I mean, he had like a couple other fighters, but I was like amongst the very first few. Like the very first few. Yeah, he really wanted to become a promoter and get his promotional company like bigger. I mean, he had like a one fighter. I heard like on the way he was up when Floyd was at the top of his game. He had like one fighter, but he didn't really like it. And then towards the end of his career was when he was trying to pick up the fighters. Was, you know, right when he got that Showtime deal. The last couple fights was when he was like, all right, I'm gonna start picking up fighters. And then Lenel Bellows, J. Leon Love, and me were like, and Badu Jack were like the first like immediate group that signed with Mayweather Promotions when he finally like got his license and all of that.
Dope. So from there, so now you with Mayweather Promotions, big name promoter. Even though he was just getting started, it wasn't the Mayweather Promotions that we know now. And you're in the game. You are a pro boxer. You walking around with guys. You see it in front of you. Now it's not just a dream no more. It's getting really, really close. You're like, man, this is Floyd Mayweather, $1 million chains. Yeah. I'm over here in the gym. You seeing stars. It's like you can touch it now.
It was lit. Yeah, it was lit. Like I knew like my path started to get created. You know, like when it got created, like my road to the top in the pro games was created with Floyd. Like Floyd and them got me my first like I think 8 or 9 fights.
All right, now and in these fights, I think one of your biggest early big fights was Daryl Cunningham, if I'm not mistaken, right? That was a big fight for you.
When I fought him, I was doing business with a different promoter.
Okay.
So me and Floyd we had the first 8 fights and 9 fights together, and then we had a falling out. So then I went and got like a handful of fights with some other promoters.
How did that work? Like he just let you go like that?
I mean, it was basically. It was some outside bullshit that I wasn't really dealing with. It was really some petty stuff that really could have been worked over. But there was too many egos involved, so we went separate ways. Well, you know, obviously I went my way, and then he was like, well, whatever. But then, you know, I did what I did. I worked with a couple other promoters. They weren't bad, but they weren't.
You was with Marq Nation at one point too, right?
Yeah, I was with Marq Nation first. And then I did business with The Zone, and then I did business with Top Rank too. So,
oh man,
I've been around the block.
Man, you like the rapper who had a record deal with everybody.
Yeah. So I know how the game goes. You know, I know how the game
and you know goes. When somebody playing with you too, right?
Yeah,
like, no, this ain't a good deal.
I know how much money is in each slot, kinda like, you know, the ballpark area at least, of the type of money that's supposed to be out there. Like I know how these contracts work. Like I know so much, man. I done had so many managers I didn't learn from. I had so many trainers that I didn't learn the game from. I done had promoters that I didn't work with that I didn't learn the game from. Like I'm a real vet. You feel me? Like I know the business in and out. So
I'm gonna be honest with you. Your star was shooting up through the roof. And then we saw you about to face Danny Jacobs. You had a tough time out with Danny Jacobs. I ain't gonna lie, that was the press conference leading up to it, the way you was dressed, the way you was talking. I was like, this that boy right here. Like, what is he about to do here? But that was not your best performance by far. That is not what we were used to seeing with you. From Daryl Cunningham, with Scott Sigmund, with Megadeth. I'm probably saying his name wrong, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, the Russian.
Yeah, like that was those performances that we saw, your last 3 performances, night and day with Danny Jacobs. Talk to us about that fight, and what did you learn from that adversary? I mean, from that dealing with that adversity right there.
I mean, the Danny Jacobs fight was a great event. You know, I got to feel what it feels like to have the spotlight on you, all the eyes on you. I mean, obviously the fight was for Danny Jacobs, but I was still able to like see what it's like to be a main event fighter on HBO. You know, and I got to main event fight on HBO. You know, without any real help or real push behind me, but I still took the fight, and I learned a lot from it. You know, like to compete at that level, like a lot of things need to be in order in your life, inside and outside the ring. You know, like,
elaborate on that for us if you can.
like, you know what I mean? Like, you just need to be, like, everything needs to be about boxing. You know what I mean? Like, everything that you have, like, going into the ring, like, every detail, like, matters, you know, at that level. You know what I mean? Like, your wardrobe, you know, like, the people that are going to support you, what you got to deal with, you know, like, not having to deal with tickets and stuff, and not having to deal with this and that, and having a team around you that deals with all that extra stuff, so you have less things to worry about. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things that can make
distractions. It sound like
less distraction and stuff. You know what I mean? But I just, even though mentally I felt like prepared, I felt like I was prepared in terms of my ability. I feel like experience-wise, I just wasn't ready for that type of fight. I mean, like, Danny Jacobs had just came out of his first main event pay-per-view fight. I won my first opening bout on HBO pay-per-view, and I ended up fighting him. You know what I mean? Like, I took a huge leap, that, like, little lessons that you learn on the way up. But, you know, I still took the best out of that, you know, so I learned a lot from that fight. You know, I learned a lot about myself. You know, I really should have got knocked out, and I didn't. I really was supposed to get my ass beat.
You didn't let your hands go, champ. And there was times where you could have pulled the trigger.
Yeah. I mean, I was hurt. Like, after 2-3 rounds. Just like I said, rookie mistakes, man. I bought some new shoes, you know, before that fight. Like, I had got some new shoes, and I just never wore them. You know, I never broke the shoes in.
You didn't break them in.
Yeah, so when I first tried the shoes on, was in the locker room, and when I put them on, you know, they were half a size too big.
Oh, man.
But I was already in there. So I was like, it won't be that bad. But, man, my foot was, like, rubbing all the time. And by the time I took my shoe off, my whole sock was full of blood because I had got, like, a blister in the middle of my foot. So I couldn't really stand on that back foot. So I was surviving from the fourth round on because my foot was just burning. You know, I had a blister the size of a ball. Like, you know, my feet were rubbing the whole time because the shoe was too big. You know,
yeah,
so
man.
I took myself out that fight. You know what I mean? Like, I did all of that, and then I didn't, you know, make the fight as even as possible because I made that rookie mistake and I was hurt from the jump. That's what I'm saying. Like, I really should have got knocked out. I was a sitting duck. I couldn't even step on my back foot. Like, I was stepping on my side foot.
So you basically survived that fight with instincts and
just off of just defense. That's how I knew I was cold. I knew I was like, man, I told myself, like, midway through that fight, I was like, if I make it to the 12th round, like, I'm a beast. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, I was on one foot most of the fight, you know, and I did. I was able to find ways to survive and to make it all 12 rounds, you know. So, I mean, that was a mental victory for me.
Absolutely.
More of victory. More, you know, like shit. He didn't knock me out, so he should have.
Hey, look, champ, and look, you're so humble, man, and you're so gracious in defeat right there. Just keeping it 1,000. Like, some guys would say, "Nah, I was robbed." Made a mad excuses. You was like, "No, I ain't making excuses." Yeah, and you keeping it a buck. You keeping it a buck.
He should have knocked me out. You know, like, he should have. But I was able to. I'm slippery. You feel me? Like, I don't take a lot of shots. You know what I mean? Like, I know how to deflect little shots. Like, I know how to, like, you know, I got a good defense. You know what I mean? Like, my defense is underrated. And I was able to just find a way to get to the end of that fight. And I told myself that, like, after 4.
Your mic's muted. There we go. You're good.
I'm not gonna. As long as I make it to the end, I'll be straight.
Absolutely. Now, after that fight, you had another close fight. Didn't quite go your way, but you didn't take an L on it. You fought another one of my guys that I think he's super talented as well, King Gabe Rosado. Talk to us about that fight. It was a very, very close fight. Some people say you should have won that. Talk to us about that. It was a draw.
It was a back and forth fight. I mean, I thought that was a good fight. You know, like I had fought Jacobs and I took a year off, and then some people take me, I should have took an easier fight, but I felt like the Rosado fight was perfect. It was perfect at the time for me to show, you know, what I could show, you know. But you know that, you know, I ended up Rosado used a good veteran trick that threw me off my entire game plan. You know what I mean? Like,
Talk to us. Give us a story.
And they complained about the hand wraps. They were complaining about the hand wraps, man. Like they're trying to say I was doing some bullshit with the hand wrap. Like 2 different commissioners signed my hand wraps. We were going back and forth in the locker room before the fight for like 30, 40 minutes. The whole time that everyone's arguing, Rosado was back there warming up.
Oh,
At the very last minute, the commission was like, "All right, look, man, you just got to cut them off and you got to rewrap." So then we both had to rewrap, and then when they rewrap, they were like, "All right, well, put your gloves on and go out there." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Man, I can't warm up." Like they were like, "No, you can just warm up on the way," you know, because when you on TV and the TV tells you to walk, you got to walk, you know. So I had to go into that fight. It was already cold as hell in Kansas. We fought in Kansas in the middle of the winter. And like I had no flow in the fight. Like if you look at the fight, you could tell I had no flow in the fight. Like I was just like throwing a lot of like 1-2 shots. Like I had no movement, I had no flow, I had no turns. Like I felt so stiff and my arms felt so heavy, you know, just because I came out there just trying to like blast off right away without even like, you know, warming up. So my body was just, I was fighting my body. But even then I found a way, like if he wouldn't have cut me in the 12th round and I wouldn't have lost the 12th round, I would have won the fight, you know. So even then I was still able to manage. And he fought a very good fight, man. He fought a very good fight. Like he was tricky. Like he was like, kept his distance away. Like he only tried to like fight me when he wanted to. And like he made it tougher, you know. Like I said, had I been properly got ready for the fight before it, like I think it would have been a different story. But given everything that it was, like he still like fought a very good fight. You know what I mean? Like he fought a good fight and he made it tricky for me.
So y'all over there arguing?
Yeah, Rosado had like 40, 45 fights at the time. You know, like
Rosado a beast, man, and he's been a beast.
Like he a dog, and he was way bigger than me. Big as hell. You know, and then. You know, but like I said, I took it all as a learning experience, man, and all that shit got me ready to beat the shit out of Hurd. And that's what happened.
TRC Music.